Hi, fourth graders, it's Miss Leon. Today we are going to be learning about prime and composite numbers. What is a prime number? What is a composite number? Okay, so when we have a prime number, what it means to be prime is that there are only two factors ever at all. And I'm going to highlight that because this is so important to remember, period. At the end of the day, end of story. There are only two factors. So when a number is prime, the factors are the number 1, is which we always start with anyway, 1 times whatever that number it is. So times itself is how they say that. A prime is a number 1 times the number itself, and that's it. So here's some examples. I'm going to give you 2 examples of some prime numbers. The first example I'm going to give you is of the number 2. And 2 is a special prime number because it is the only, and I say only, even prime number. So there's the number 2, right? And I can show this 2 ways. I can help visualize this in 2 ways. We have the number 1, which we always start with, and then we do 1 times and then the number 2. 1 times 2 equals 2. But you can't find any other numbers to multiply together to equal 2. So it's prime. Or I can represent it like this, where I start with the number 1 here, and then the pair is 2, 1 times 2. And that's that factor pair. The other example I can give you is the number 3. 3 also is a prime number. So I can show that in a T-chart where I do the number 3, where it's 1. We always start with the factor 1, and 1 times 3 is going to equal 3. I cannot take any other numbers and multiply them together to equal 3. Therefore, 3 is prime. I can represent it with the upside down rainbow, doing 1, and then you would multiply 1 times 3, and that's the pair. They go together. 1 times 3 equals 3. I want to go on and notate, however, that all prime numbers are odd, except for the number 2. That does not mean that every odd number is prime. Nope, do not get that confused. Every odd number is not prime, but all the prime numbers happen to be odd except for the number 2. 2 is the only even prime number. So it's a good guesstimate that when you're looking for prime numbers, that they're going to be odd, all except for the number 2 itself. That's all. So moving on to the next thing is we're going to learn what a composite number is. Composite numbers are greater than 1, and they have more than 2 factors. So that is the rules. There's more than 2 factors that it has. That's greater than the number 1. So let's look at some examples. We're going to try the number 4. So I always start with the first factor, which is 1, and I do 1 times 4, that's the pair, 1 and 4 together, equals 4. Great. Now I will go on to 2. I know that 2 goes into 4 because 4 is an even number, and 2 is a factor of every single even number. Doesn't matter what it is. So 2 times what equals 4? Well, 2 times 2 equals 4. Well, now I know that I have all my factors of 4 because I'm doing 1, 2, and then it goes to 2, so there's nothing else, right? Nothing comes between 2. So I can also represent this in the upside down rainbow, where I say 1 times 4 is 4, that's the pair, and then I have 2 times 2, and that equals 4. The next composite number I want to talk about is 8. So I'm going to represent 8 in 2 ways as well. So when I'm looking at 8, I know that 1, I always start with the factor 1 times 8 will equal 8. Now I'm going to go on to the next factor, which is 2. And I know that 2 will go in 8 because 8 is even. So 2 times what number equals 8? 2 times 4 equals 8. Now, between these two numbers, there's only one number left. There's 3, but I know 3 times nothing will ever equal 8. So therefore, these are all of my factors of 8. 1, 2, 8, and 4. 1 times 8 is 8, and 2 times 4 is 8. So I can show it like the upside down rainbow. 1 times 8 is a pair that equals 8. And then 2 times 4 equals 8. And as you notice, the only other number that can come between here is 3. And like I said, 3 is not a factor of 8. 3 times nothing equals 8. The only other note that I want to make to this learning is down here where it says the number 1. It's neither prime or composite because it only has one factor. And that's 1, because 1 times 1 equals 1. It's not two different numbers. It's the same number repeated, 1 times 1. So because it only has the number 1 as a factor, it's not two different numbers put together. It is neither prime or composite. It is in its own category, neither one.